It looks like we're in for a nice sunny weekend here in the southwest. Thanks for joining us. My name's Carolyn Griffiths and I'm the marketing manager at Miles Morgan Travel. You won't have seen me before. I'm just standing in for Miles because unfortunately he's unavailable this morning. So you have me instead. And I'm delighted to be joined this morning by Kerry Eads, who's our account manager for Fred Olsen Cruises. And Kerry's going to take us through the presentation to present their exciting new 2023 launch and go through the programme and some great offers. Just to give you a bit of a background, we've been working, and those of you, there's probably a lot of you on here that have already sailed with Freds, but we've always had a very long, fantastic relationship with Fred Olsen. Their ships are smaller and more intimate, and I had the pleasure of actually travelling on my own holiday in 2019 on Braemar. And I have to say that I've kind of fell in love a bit with Freds after that. You know, the ambience on board, get to know the staff. So if a small ship cruise is what you're looking for, I can highly recommend Fred Olsen. I was on a ship launch actually last weekend for a very large new ship in Tilbury. And I have to say, although it was amazing, I didn't see the same member of staff twice. And I did get lost a couple of times. And I think on Fred Olsen, you just don't get that. It's just a different atmosphere. So, you know, different ships suit different people. But if you're looking for kind of a small ship, more intimate, where you get to know the staff and the staff get to know you and are very genuine, then you can't go wrong with Fred Olsen. The other thing to say is, obviously, they've got 2 new ships in their programme, which Kerry will tell you a little bit more about. But we were really lucky. Kerry hosted 2 trips back at the end of 2019, sorry, not 2019, 2021, last November. She hosted 2 groups of staff on Buletta at Southampton. So we're really fortunate to have kind of really bang up to date information and first-hand knowledge of that ship. So if any of you are looking at those new cruise ships, then, you know, get in touch with your local shop because you know, we have got staff with first-hand experience. Kerry is going to be in some of our shops today and tomorrow. So she's in Ross-on-Wye this afternoon with Nina and her team. So if you are local to Ross-on-Wye, then feel free to pop in and say hello to Kerry. And then tomorrow, Kerry's in Clevedon in the morning with Abby and her team. And then she's in Portishead with Tracy and her team in the afternoon. So if you are in those locations, then feel free to pop in and see her. If you've got any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat at the bottom. We will endeavour to answer as many of the questions as possible at the end. We do have quite a few online today, but we will do our best to go through as many questions as we can. So like I say, just pop it in the chat and we can pick that up at the end. And just before I pass over to Kerry, just to say that with this new launch, MMT, Miles Morgan Travel, have got a exclusive offer. And when you book any of the new Fred Olsen cruises with us by the end of this month, we're offering a free duo of Harvey Nichols wine as a gift for you. So I will leave that with you and I will pass over to Kerry, who can take you through the presentation. Thanks, Kerry.
Yes, thanks, Carolyn. Well, a very good morning, everyone. So as Carolyn mentioned, I'm very close to Ross-on-Wye at the moment and we'll be popping into Nina's shop later this afternoon. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and run over our new and exciting itineraries for 2023, which actually launched yesterday and went on sale to Ocean members yesterday. And general on sale is tomorrow. So I hope you can all see my screen. Carolyn, do shout if you can't. So like I said, we are launching our summer 2023 sailings. So this is sailings from May 2023 through to October 2023. So the current brochure that we have on sale for 2022-2023 went up to May. And so this is just following on from May 23 into October 2023. If you're waiting for any itineraries that are going on sale after October 2023, so October 23 to May 2024, they will actually be going on sale at the end of April. April. So at the moment, this is just summer 2023. And the main reason for that is because we can't quite launch the full programme for the whole year at this stage. It's because I'm sure you'll appreciate we've had lots of itineraries planned in and lots of changes due to COVID and obviously due to the situation over in Ukraine and Russia. So we've just had to amend some of our other itineraries. So we're just playing around with some other itineraries for October onwards before we launch those out to bookings. So if there is anybody new to Fred Olsen on the call, I'm just going to run over a little bit about us. I know there's going to be many on the call that have cruised with Fred Olsen many times before. So apologies if I am repeating myself and you know some of this information, and we will come on to the itineraries shortly. But those of you that are new to Fred Olsen, or maybe you haven't cruised with us for a couple of years and looking to obviously getting on a ship quite soon, and also the new ships. So I'm going to talk about the 2 new ships that we launched last year as well. So here at Fred Olsen, we are very proud to sail our own course. We are free to do things a different way because we are a family-run independent company. Of course, some people out there do prefer the bigger ships, the busier cruise lines, but this is not for everyone, and it's certainly not for us at Fred Olsen. We prefer to do things what we call the Olsen way. We certainly believe that smaller is better, and we have fewer guests on board our ship, so the atmosphere on board is always warm and civilized. Our smaller ships allow us to visit more interesting places that the world has to offer that the big ships simply can't get to. These are really our key selling points. We believe in handcrafted, not mass produced, so we pride ourselves on putting our all into the Fred Olsen cruising experience. Our itineraries are created from scratch every single year, and our service is genuinely personal, and each and every area of our ship is designed by hand. So when we come on to look at the itinerary shortly, we don't copy and paste from previous years. We always look at improving on other cruising itineraries and looking at where we can take you that the big ships simply can't get to. And it's all about the people, all of it, everything. There are certain things that can only happen when people put genuine care and positivity into what they do. And we believe that you can have all the equipment in the world, but in the end, it all comes down to the people. And we believe we are travellers more than we are tourists. Our way is about creating experience that attract like-minded travel enthusiasts, people as excited to engage with the wonders of the world as much as we are. We believe in the joy of the journey. We believe the purpose of a cruise is to experience the wonders of the world by always looking out and not facing in. So when we do plan our itineraries, we always look at taking you the scenic route, even if it's the longest route. Maritime is certainly in our DNA. The Olsen family have been sailing for nearly 200 years, and we will never lose sight of our love for the sea. That's why we will always choose to sail ships that look like ships rather than hotels or holiday resorts. And even though that we've bought 2 new ships over the last 18 months, just bear in mind that they are not massive ships. They're slightly larger than what we had previously with Boudica and Blackwatch, but by no means are they big ships. They're still small ships. We travel respectfully. We have great respect for the natural world and the diverse cultures of the places that we visit. We run smaller ships, so we travel lightly rather than overwhelming the beauty of the local people in the destination that we're visiting. We design everything with elegance, simplicity, and attention to detail. Linen, not cotton, leather, not plastic. Our focus is always on quality, and our ships are genuinely loved by us, with every detail closely considered and reviewed. I deck best to scalp, which basically means, in the Norwegian phrase, in the best of company. Our guests are like-minded, very much like our crew, genuine, friendly, and we are very proud to say that as a result of this, we have more returning guests than any other cruise line. So moving on to 2023, let's have a quick look at the departure ports that we're visiting, we'll be departing from. So we have Rosyth up in Edinburgh, Newcastle, Dover, and Southampton and Liverpool. So when we plan the itineraries, we make sure that we're leaving from the correct ports in order to get to the correct destinations. Moving on, looking at the ships. So first off, we have Valletta. So she's our very new flagship. So for the summer of 2023, she's going to be sailing out of Dover, Southampton and Newcastle. So when I mentioned previously about them being larger ships than we had previously, they're not massive by any means. And the capacity on board Valletta is 1,338. So very similar capacity to the Balmoral. And if you've not yet been on these new ships, I do highly recommend going on them. They're very spacious and the feedback that we've had has been absolutely fantastic. So once you set foot on these new ships, they are definitely Fred Olsen ships. We've been refurbishing them during the lockdown. And I'm pleased to say that, of course, we will be reintroducing Balmoral back into the ocean in just a few weeks' time, in early May, and then Braemar will be joining us in April 2023. So we are very, very close to getting all 4 ships back in the water after the pandemic, which we're very excited about. Moving on to Borealis. Borealis is going to be cruising predominantly out of Liverpool, but she will also have some sailings out of Southampton as well. So again, passenger capacity is 1,360, so still small ships. And extensive spa facilities on board the new ships. You've got 2 tiered theatres and you've also got specialty restaurants. Balmoral is coming back in, like I said, early part of May this year. So she's going to be sailing out of Southampton, Newcastle and also Rosyth. So you can see the capacity of Balmoral is 1,325. So the 2 new ships and the capacity are very, very similar. However, the 2 new ships are slightly larger, meaning that they are just a lot more spacious, which I think is probably quite important nowadays as well, to have your own space around. And then the baby of the fleet, which now is the Braemar. So she carries just over 900 passengers and she's going to be operating out of Dover and also Southampton for the summer of 2023. And then we'll be pleased to say that she will be returning to the Caribbean as a fly cruise for the winter months of 2023 into 2024, with fly cruises in and out of Cuba and also Barbados. Now, at the moment, those fly cruises are not yet on general sale. What we've had to do is anybody that was due to sail with us this coming winter, we've just had to transfer those people over to 2023, 2024 before the itineraries go on general sale. So just bear with us a few more weeks and those Caribbean fly cruise itineraries will be back on sale. We haven't been in the Caribbean since pre-pandemic, so we're very excited to get back out to the Caribbean. So our new itineraries for 2023, like I mentioned, they went on sale to Ocean members exclusively yesterday, the 16th of March. And that also does include anybody out there that had booked a cruise with us, but unfortunately had to cancel due to COVID, but haven't yet actually set foot on a Fred Olsen ship. So if you are still sat on some vouchers, waiting for the new itineraries to come out, then that also does include you. So if you want to go ahead and book, you can do that today. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. Anybody that's never sailed with Fred Olsen before, the itineraries go on general sale tomorrow, Friday, the 18th of March. Just to advise you as well, we've got about 5,000 bookings where people are still sat on vouchers from previous cancelled COVID cruises. So just bear that in mind, that when the itineraries obviously have just gone on sale, we expect very, very high demands in bookings because some of those vouchers will be coming to an expiry. And obviously lots of people have been waiting to use those for 2023 onwards. So some of the offers that we have on sale as of yesterday. So we are giving free onboard spend of sailings between 5 and 19 nights. So that's £250 per person when you are booking a cruise of 5 to 19 nights. Now, if you're choosing to book a suite, we will then double that onboard spending credit. So you will be entitled to up to £500 per person onboard spend. So the onboard spend is determined by the duration of your cruise. And like I said, if you're booking a suite, then that will be doubled. That also does include any 2022 departures. So if you're thinking of a 23 departure and looking at something out of the new brochure, but you also want to squeeze some cruises in between now and the end of this year, that onboard spend offer also does apply to 2022 departures, 5 to 19 nights. We also have a lot of solo offers available. So with all the solo supplements, how it works basically is when we launch any new itineraries, we will always have a select number of cabins with no single supplements. It's not every single cruise. So for example, for the 2023 departures, we've got about 20 itineraries with no single supplements. And there's a number of cruises for 2022 with no single supplements as well. So depending on how well the cruise sells and the demand, we will then obviously cap those no single supplements. So the earlier you book as a solo traveller, the better. Now, if we get to the point where we're close to departure and we haven't sold as many cabins as we would like, we will then reduce those cabin prices and put no single supplements on them as well. So the best time to book with no single supplements is either when the itineraries are first available and first on sale, or closer to departure dates. But of course, there is no guarantees because it will always depend on how well the itineraries are selling. So my advice, if you see cruises with no single supplements that have just been launched, take advantage of those offers as soon as you see them, because they won't be around for long. And those no single supplement cruises are based on a solo traveller occupying a twin cabin at no additional cost. So you're only paying for yourself. Now, I was with a gentleman yesterday in a travel agent. We're looking at exactly these no single supplement offers, and he had savings of nearly £2,000 on an Iceland cruise with no single supplement for 2023. So there's some great deals out there. If you are a solo traveller, get in touch with your local Miles Morgan branch and we can give you a list of those cruises with the no single supplements. We also have a 3 and 4 berth cabin offers. So if you have some friends or family members that would like to join you on a cruise and share the same cabin, then we can offer extra guest setting sail from just £199 per person on selected July and August 2023 departures. So we do have cabins that will sleep up to 3-4 people in the same cabin. Some of them will offer bunk beds. Or pull down beds. Some of them we can put extra rollaway beds in the cabins, depending on, of course, the floor space within that cabin. So there is that option. If you have friends or family that want to join you on a cruise and keep the cost down a little bit more, they can set sail from only £199 per person sharing the same cabin. Now, they wouldn't get the extra onboard spending credit. That would only be for the full 2 paying passengers within that cabin, but they can set sail for a very reduced rate in July and August 2023. And I think what a lot of you do like with Miles Morgan is that we do door-to-door transfers down to the ports on selected cruises with us. Now, at the moment, obviously, the itineraries only came out and on sale yesterday. So myself and Miles will be working very closely and choosing which itineraries we will be putting on the door-to-door transport. So they will be coming very, very soon. So watch this space and we will then be able to advise you which cruises the 2023 summer will have the door-to-door transport available to take you down to Southampton, Dover or Liverpool, wherever the cruises that we choose to take you to. So just bear with us a few more weeks and we'll have them out on sale for you. So let's move on and look at the cruising highlights. So where are we actually going in 2023? So Fred Olsen Cruise Lines, we're very proud. We're a family-run independent company, which means we can cruise the world over. So we cruise the Caribbean, We cruise Latin America, South America, the Canary Islands, the Azores, Madeira, around the British Isles, which have become extremely popular, particularly because we had quite a number of cruises around the UK last summer, because at the time that was the only place we could cruise, but they have become very popular. So we have more of them in the programme for summer 22 and 2023. Norway, of course, it's our bread and butter, it's our homeland. We know it like the back of our hand. And of course, combining that with Iceland and Greenland. Scandinavia, obviously, you will notice in the summer 2023 brochure is that there are some gaps in the dates. And the reason for that is because we had Baltic cruises planned in, and obviously we've taken them off sale, waiting to see what happens with the situation in Ukraine and Russia. But as it currently stands, we are not actively promoting any departures up to St. Petersburg. And of course, we have taken St. Petersburg and the Black Sea itineraries out of our programme for 2023. We had penciled them in for 2023, but obviously we're just waiting to see what the situation is like in the future. So you may see some gaps. So I know a lot of people look at certain dates for cruises, whether it's big anniversaries and celebrations, birthdays, wedding anniversaries and so forth. So yes, there are some gaps in the itineraries. So again, you might just have to bear with us a few more weeks while we rejig those itineraries around and look at where else we can take you. As I said, we had originally planned to go to St. Petersburg, but that's not going to be the case, certainly not for 2022. We are waiting to see what happens for 2023. European rivers and cities. We've got the Mediterranean and the Balkans, and of course we've got world cruises and grand voyages on sale, including 2024. So again, with the world cruises, and actually a lot of our cruises, because many of our guests haven't had a cruise for 2, possibly even 3 years now with the pandemic. So we've noticed that particularly our world cruises for 2023 and 2024 are very heavily sold, as is some of our longer cruising durations. So if there is something you see and you'd like to book it, my advice would be please do book sooner rather than later to avoid any disappointment. Obviously, we have 2 new ships and they are slightly larger. So overall, we've got a 30% increase in capacity to what we had pre-pandemic with Boudica and Blackwatch. So we have more cabins to sell, but obviously people haven't cruised for a number of years and they're actually booking more than 1 cruise at this particular time. So moving on to the destinations, of course, we do visit Norway. Like I mentioned, it's our homeland. It's the home of the Olsen family. So we cruise to Norway throughout the summer months, throughout the winter months, and we cruise the southern fjords and of course right up to Arctic Norway as well. We will always have pilots on board our cruises navigating the Norwegian fjords. So this means that we can navigate off the main tourist cruising routes. We're smaller, we can go under bridges and you have a lot of electricity pylons and things going across some of the fjords. They are just about high enough that we can go under, but a lot of the big ships can't. So that means that we do have some almost exclusive fjords that we can sail in because we're small, because we can get under those bridges, we can get under those cables and cruise more scenic routes and intercoastal cruising throughout Norway. We do deliberately divert down size restricted waterways. Some of them, like the Troll Fjord, are dead ends, but we go in there because you can just about squeeze through and almost touch the sides of the fjords as we go through on our smaller ships. And again, big ships can't even get anywhere close to where we're going because they're simply too big. So we do take you on a more scenic route throughout Norway. And of course, we do visit Norway throughout the year and making sure that we are making our cruises timed at the best time of year. So if you're going in the winter, you go up to see the Northern Lights, of course, and this particular winter has been amazing for the Northern Lights. So if you haven't yet done the Northern Lights, I do strongly recommend trying to get up there. We've got a couple of itineraries still departing in the next couple of weeks. If not, try and do it the later part of this year, early next year, because the Northern Lights have been at their absolute best for some time. We had a cruise depart just a few days ago heading up to Iceland, and they had a magnificent sighting of the Northern Lights up in Iceland as well. So this is just one of our itineraries I'm going to just highlight to you today, which is an 8-night cruise from Southampton in the middle of June, doing the Southern Fjords. Prices start at 1,249, and you would enjoy £100 per person on board spending credit, or if you are booking a suite, that will of course be doubled to 200. So of course, one of the size restricted fjords is the LOUGHS fjord, because of some cables and bridges that you have to go under to access the LOUGHS fjord. So we get to see more and do more in Norway. Of course, we do the Mediterranean, so a bit of a contrast heading south and hopefully to some nice warm weather. So our ships, and in particular Braemar, is small enough to be able to dock a lot closer to some of the big ports along the Mediterranean coast. Whereas some of the big ships have to dock 1 or 2 miles out of the city, we're right there, you're off the gangway and you are there. When we've chosen the itineraries around the Mediterranean, we've handcrafted them to visit cities known for culture and history. We visit highlighted and hidden destinations with picturesque harbours only possible with smaller ships. And again, we schedule our calls into some of the ports around the Mediterranean, and particularly one of them is visiting the lavender fields when they're in full bloom and beautiful fields of purple. So this is a cruise, and I know that this is going to be one of the Miles Morgan groups that we will be doing door-to-door offers on. It's the sunsets and cities of the Mediterranean brought closer. So this is Braemar, meaning that she's our smallest ship within the fleet, so we can dock in places like Marseille. Again, big ships aren't able to do so, so that gives us a great advantage of being able to take you to some other places along the Mediterranean coast. This one's a 17-night cruise, leaving on the 15th of June next year. Prices start at 2,699, and being a 17-night cruise would give you £250 per person on board spend, or if doubling that if you are booking a suite. And of course, this one does take in Monaco, which is the image that you can see here. Great place if you haven't yet been. And it also takes in the island of Corsica as well, which is beautiful. This one, although it's a Liverpool departure, I am highlighting it because I know, although we are based down here in the southwest, Liverpool's not a million miles away. And actually, Boletta and Borealis are actually the fastest cruise ships in the world. So that also means that we can take you down to the Mediterranean a lot quicker than some other cruise ships. So although you may be setting off from Liverpool, you'll actually get down to the Mediterranean a lot quicker than if you were on a ship, a competitor ship leaving from Southampton. That gives us a great advantage, but also bear in mind that we don't necessarily put the full throttle on when we are scenic cruising. So you're still going to get that great advantage of scenic cruising and the Amalfi coast, both from land and by sea. Now, although if you are living down in the southwest, we are offering a free door-to-door transport on this one if you live within 200 miles of Liverpool. Now, it's not one of the Miles Morgan escorted groups. It's something that anybody can book with the door-to-door if you're living within 200 mainland miles. So, for example, if you live in the Channel Islands or the Isle of Man or Northern Ireland, it doesn't apply. It's mainland transport to Liverpool. So that's a great one. Exploring the Balkans and the Adriatic with Venice. Then we do have this departure setting sail this summer, and it's been very popular. So we are doing it again for next September 2023. So it's a 26-night cruise, and that is priced at £4,099 per person. Moving on to the European rivers and cities. So again, our way, the Olsen way of taking you around the world. Our ships can sail right into the heart of the destination, particularly when we're doing more scenic cruising in European rivers and cities. So this is European rivers and city cruising on our ocean-going vessels. And again, we're small enough that we are narrow enough that we can go up and down these rivers through some of the locks and canals around Europe. as you can see on this picture here. So this is bridges that we're able and small enough to be able to get under. So we can pass picturesque countryside scenes while sailing shallow rivers. And again, this is, although it's a Dover departure, it's a scenic rivers of France and Spain and going into the heart of Seville. So this one is a 15-night departure on the 20th of July 2023. And if you've not yet done the River Seine, I do highly recommend going up to Rouen and then, of course, going up the river in Spain all the way to Seville, where again, big ships have to dock in Cadiz. You have to jump on a coach and go into the heart of the city of Seville, whereas we carry on cruising up the river, get a lot of scenic hours on the river, and then we dock in the heart of the city. We've also got cruises going around the British Isles and Ireland. So itineraries designed to get to the hardest reach areas. Now, many of us have probably travelled the world, yet never really explored what we have on our home turf. So a great way to go and see a lot of particularly the Scottish Highlands and Islands, and including places like the Isles of Scilly and the Isle of Man, Southern Ireland, and of course, Northern Ireland too. And with our ships being small enough, we can get closer to the coastline, we can hug the coastline and see some of the things that, again, the big ships won't be able to get that close to. Great example here, Fingal's Cave and places like that. So this is an itinerary departing from Southampton. It's a 10-night cruise doing the scenic Isles, Irish lochs. Yes, there are lochs in Ireland and cities. So it's a great circumnavigation of Ireland. And of course, taken in places like Belfast, so you can go and see the limestone, and of course, visit the Titanic Museum, which I would certainly put on your bucket list if you've not yet been. I think it's one of the best museums I've ever been to. Not forgetting, of course, the Canaries, Madeira, the Azores and Africa. You want to escape in the winter time for some sunshine. Of course, you can see natural environments and volcanoes, the flora and fauna of the Azores, Madeira, and of course the Canary Islands as well. The Azores are very remote actually and off the beaten track. You won't find many airlines even flying out to the Azores from the UK. So it is one of those destinations that's quite remote and not many UK tourists visit these islands. But on the Azores Islands, we visit 3 or 4 of the islands out in the Azores. So it's a great way to go and see and explore the islands. And of course, with less guests on board our ship, we're not going to be overwhelming those destinations when we arrive. It's just us, just a few hundred people on board rather than thousands and thousands. So this is a cruise doing the wonders and wildlife of the Azores and Madeira. It's setting off on the 13th of August next year. Price is at £1,599, and again, onboard spend of £150 or £300 if you're booking a suite. The Arctic, so I know we've talked about Norway already, but of course we do go right up to the Arctic Circle and further, and we will generally have orca on board our ship. So you'll be able to do lots of whale watching, dolphin watching, walruses, seals. There's so much wildlife up in the Arctic to go and see. And we had great sightings of white dolphins yesterday on the Iceland cruise. Lots of pictures being sent back from the ship. So if you do follow us on Facebook, please go and have a look at those. And of course, up in the Arctic, you've got lots of waterfalls and geysers, particularly if you're heading over to Iceland. So the Arctic cruises generally are Norway, Arctic Norway, so up to Spitsbergen. Some of them also do that combined with Iceland and also Greenland. So this is an Iceland cruise from Southampton on the 13th of September, going up to see the geysers, the waterfalls, the earthquake fault lines, the volcanoes. There is so much to see and do in Iceland. And again, we do circumnavigations of Iceland. And when you get right up to the top, you just tip over into the Arctic Circle. exploring the Arctic and the White Sea. So we haven't done this for a number of years actually, and this is actually going right the way around and exploring the White Sea. So fingers crossed, everything is settled down in the world by June next year. And we will be able to take you across into the Russian border and the Russian side of Murmansk and the White Sea. So fingers crossed that one. We'll keep those itineraries in there, but this is going up to Spitsbergen as well. So a great exploration of a 23-night cruise heading right up to Spitsbergen and the White Sea and Murmansk. Canada in the fall. Canada is a great time to visit at this time of year because of all the foliage and all the colours changing. So we've timed this itinerary perfectly so that will hopefully see all these amazing colours of the foliage changing. So this one's going out on the 3rd of October 2023. So it's a 19-night cruise from Liverpool. That means it's only going to take you 4 days to cross the Atlantic Ocean on the faster ships. So if you want to add the all-inclusive drinks package to your bookings, it is £19 per person per day, which is very reasonable. Fully aware that that may not be suited for everyone if you don't drink or you don't think you're going to drink £19 per person per day. But certainly if you're thinking of booking a cruise, whether it's today, tomorrow, or certainly in the next couple of weeks, my advice would be to add the drinks package on soon, or even if you've got a booking already for this year and you're thinking about adding the drinks package on but you haven't yet done so, my advice, book it soon, because that £19 per person will be increasing in price. We haven't got a date of when, so my advice, if you're booking your cruise and you want the drinks package, add it now while the price is £19 before the price increases. And if you're new to Fred Olsen, or if you've cruised with us a number of times but not yet tried our new ships, we of course do have the enjoyment promise. So we are fully aware that Fred Olsen Cruise Lines may not be for everybody, but please do give us a go. And if you really don't like it, let us know within the first 48 hours of being on board, and we will fly you home from the first available port of call and give you a full refund on your cruise. So it's what we call the enjoyment promise. We can't be fairer than that. So we are pretty much guaranteeing that when you come on board our ships, you'll have a great time. But for any reason that it's not for you, then let us know and we'll fly you home from your first port of call and give you a full refund. So that concludes. If anybody does have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them now. Like Carolyn said, I'm going to be in the shops Ross-on-Wye later this afternoon and down in Cleveland and Portishead tomorrow. So give those shops a call, check the times that I'm going to be there. If you want to come in and make an appointment with me, come and have a chat to me about particular cruises. And again, if you're solo travellers, contact your local Miles Morgan shop and they can give you a list of the cruises with the no symbol supplements.
Lovely, thanks Kerry.
No problem at all.
The new programme looks amazing. And obviously with all those early booking offers, then perfect time to book, and I hope that everybody was inspired by what Kerry was saying. I just want to clarify one thing from what was included in the slides, and that's just on our escorted departures. So our escorted departures, and some of you may have been on them, are escorted by a member of our team. We've got Margaret, we've got Joan, we've got Simon and Nina. But they do include local return transport to the port from local pickup points. It isn't door to door, unfortunately. So just to clarify that from Kerry's slides, it's departure points throughout the southwest. So those for 2023, we are working on behind the scenes at the moment. And like Kerry said, they will be launched hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So as soon as we've got them, we will obviously communicate them. But just to also say, if you're interested in 2022, we do still have some availability on some of our escorted departures. So if you're interested in joining any of our cruise specialists with the free transport to the port, then do get in touch with your local shop that can tell you which ones we've still got available. So just very quickly, we had a few questions in the chat which we can just pick up. So there's a couple, I think, specifically on actual cruises, and if I can just ask you to refer those back to the individual shop, they will be able to answer those. but we had some general ones. We had, Kerry, one about gluten-free diets and whether they can be accommodated on board. So I wonder if you can just pick that one up.
100%, yeah, absolutely. We obviously get a lot of dietary requests from people with gluten-free or allergies, diabetes, anything like that. We make a note of it on your booking, and then when the manifest gets sent to the ship, the chef gets a copy a couple of days before you arrive on board. And then when you join us on board the ship, you will meet up with the chef on the first day, and then you'll discuss what you can and cannot eat. Particularly with gluten-free, all our bread is actually made on board the ship. We've got bakers that work throughout the night when we're all enjoying ourselves or sleeping. They're busy working. So they do actually bake gluten-free bread on our ships. And it's actually my preferred bread when I go on board as well. So absolutely, whatever dietary requirement you have, you meet with the chef, decide what you can and cannot eat, and they will also give you the menu the night before, ready for the next day. So if there's anything on that menu that you think you can or cannot eat, then the chefs will kind of work around you so that you are enjoying the beautiful food that we offer to everybody else as well. So any dietary requirements, we get a lot of comments actually back from our guests to say, oh my goodness, I had this worry about dietary, but there was absolutely no need to be worried whatsoever because the chefs just make all the food fresh for you. So yeah, just let us know when you're making your booking. We'll make a note of it. It will go on the manifest straight to the chef, so he'll know before you even get on board.
Lovely, thanks for that, Kerry. Another question which I think you kind of covered off in your presentation was about solos and kind of what you offer for solos. And I know you mentioned that you know, you've always got offers really on solos depending on availability and stuff. Perfect cruises for solos, obviously because the ships are so small. We get a lot of solo travelers, particularly on our escorted groups, because you know, they join in everything with the specialists, or so it just gives them a bit of comfort really. So yeah, I can't think of a better cruise line really for solo. So hopefully that answered that question.
Sorry,
but like I said, if there's any, go on.
I was just going to jump in on that one with the solos. We also, on every departure, we have many solo travellers, and we kind of reserve a space on the ship for solo travellers, and we say anybody travelling on their own, if they want to come and meet other solo travellers, then meet in the bar, for example, at a certain time. And also we do like solo travellers can meet up and go ashore together, so that if you are ever on your own and you don't want to go ashore, you can always find another solo traveller. But that doesn't just apply to solo travellers. You might have two friends travelling together that want to kind of go off on their own, so they can meet other friends as well, or new friends on board the ship. Yeah.
Lovely, that's great. Okie dokie. So I think we need to leave it there, but like I said, if there's any other specific questions that you've got, please refer them to the shops, and Kerry will be out and about in our shops this afternoon and tomorrow. And like I say, our cruise specialists have got kind of first-hand information on Fred, so they should be able to answer any questions that you've got. So thank you for joining us, Kerry. Excellent presentation, and thanks to you all for joining us as well, and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.